Bedroom was dim, shadows stretching across the walls while rain tapped softly against the windows. His body moved over hers, rhythm steady, heat rolling off his skin. Every touch, every kiss, every breath between them should have felt intoxicating. But something was wrong. Jungkook noticed it instantly. Her eyes. They weren't focused on him the way they usually were. She wasn't clawing at his back with the same desperation, wasn't arching into him with the same fire. Her lips parted in soft moans, but her gaze kept drifting past him, like her mind had wandered somewhere far away. His chest tightened, his jaw clenched. YN, he growled, slowing down, his hand gripping her waist. Where are you right now? Her eyes blinked, startled, as though waking from a dream. What? You're not here. His voice was sharp, dominance dripping in every syllable. He pinned her wrists above her head, eyes dark and unrelenting. You've been like this for days, distant, lost. Even now, when I'm inside you, your mind is miles away. Her throat went dry. She tried to shake her head, breath stuttering. There's nothing like that, I'm fine. He stopped moving altogether. The sudden stillness made her shiver more than his roughest touch ever could. His weight pressed into her, suffocating in its intensity, his eyes burning straight into hers. Don't lie to me, he said, voice lower now, dangerous in its calm. His thumb traced her cheek slowly, almost tenderly, but his grip on her wrist tightened. You think I wouldn't notice? I notice everything. The way you avoid my eyes, the way your touch lingers but your heart doesn't. Do you think I don't feel it? Jungkook. Daddy, he corrected sharply, his tone snapping like a whip. His free hand slid down her side, gripping her thigh possessively. Say it. Her lips parted. Daddy? That's better. His voice softened for a brief moment, but his eyes stayed stormy. Now tell me why you're drifting away from me. Her chest heaved. She turned her face slightly, unable to meet his gaze. There's nothing wrong, I promise. The denial cut him deeper than any confession would have. His hand shot to her jaw, forcing her to face him again. His eyes glimmered with obsession, with fear masked as anger. Don't you dare lie to me, he whispered against her lips. You are mine. Every thought, every breath, every look. If something is stealing you from me, I'll rip it apart with my bare hands. But you will not hide from me, YN. Her heart pounded, torn between fear and butterflies. His words were possessive, terrifying even. Yet the tremor of worry beneath them made her chest ache. I said I'm fine, she whispered again, trying to sound steady. His gaze hardened. Silence hung heavy in the air, broken only by the sound of rain. For a moment, she thought he might explode, break her denial with sheer force. Instead, he pressed his forehead to hers, his breath hot and ragged. You can lie with your words, he said slowly, voice shaking with restraint, but your body will always tell me the truth. And I swear to you, I'll make it talk if I have to. Her wrists burned under his grip. Her body trembled under his weight. But even in his fury, she could feel the depth of it. Not just anger, but something more dangerous. Obsession, fear, love twisted into control. Jungkook kissed her then, hard and demanding, swallowing her silence, branding her with his mouth. His tongue pressed against hers, his teeth grazing her bottom lip until she gasped. His hands gripped her tighter, desperate to anchor her back to him. When he finally pulled back, his eyes were darker than the storm outside. This is the last time I'll ask gently, he whispered, his voice equal parts threat and plea. What are you hiding from me, YN? She stared at him, lips trembling, heart tearing in two. And for the first time, she couldn't answer. Her lashes fluttered as his words lingered between them. She looked so fragile beneath him, body trembling, lips parted like she wanted to say something but couldn't. Finally, she whispered, It's nothing, Jungkook. I'm just tired. That's all. Her voice cracked on the last word, but her eyes were already closing, exhaustion pulling her under. He studied her face for a long moment, his jaw tight. Every instinct screamed at him to keep pressing, to rip the truth from her lips. But her lids were heavy, her breathing uneven, and even in his fury, he couldn't force her now. With a low sigh, he loosened his grip and leaned back. The sudden distance made her whimper faintly, but she didn't open her eyes. For a moment, he simply stared at her, chest rising and falling in harsh silence. Then slowly, he slid an arm around her waist, pulling her closer until her soft body rested against his. His other hand rose to stroke her damp hair, fingers threading through the strands possessively. She was his kitten, his obsession. But as he held her like that, his mind drifted back to a past that never stopped haunting him. He remembered his mother's tears first. The nights she sat alone in the kitchen, staring at the door, waiting for a husband who never came home. He remembered the day he learned why, his father caught with another woman. The betrayal had shattered everything. And then, his mother's broken body, lifeless, because she couldn't live with the humiliation. The memory clawed at him even now, years later. He had been a boy, powerless, forced to grow up in a world of lies and blood. That day, he had promised himself one thing: he would never marry, never trust love, never give someone the power to destroy him like that. So he built walls. He hardened himself. He swore he would only ever keep a mistress, temporary, replaceable, never permanent. And then YN walked into his life. He remembered her first day clearly. The desperation in her eyes, the way she kept her chin lifted despite the weight on her shoulders. Her mother, sick in a hospital bed. Her father, a gambler who cared for nothing but his next bet. She had nothing. No way to pay for school, no way to keep her mother alive. Until she saw his offer. Until she signed his contract. 3 years. That was all it was supposed to be. 3 years of belonging to him, body and soul, and then freedom. But 3 years had passed, and still she was here. Still she lay in his bed. Still she let him hold her like this. Still she called him daddy when he demanded it. The contract was over, but his obsession was not. From the start he had set the rule. No love. No strings, no feelings, nothing but control and desire. But he had been the first to break it. He had been the one to fall, even when he promised himself he never would. Now, the thought of her leaving made something primal twist in his chest. It wasn't just jealousy, it was fear. Fear that she would vanish, that she would leave him like his mother had been left, that he would be powerless again. No, he wouldn't allow it. His hand tightened on her waist, pulling her flush against him even as she drifted toward sleep. He buried his face in her hair, breathing her in like she was the only air left in the world. His kitten, his weakness, his salvation. "You can lie to me," he whispered against her ear, voice rough and low. "You can say you're tired, that it's nothing. But I'll never believe it. I see everything, kitten. I feel everything, and you." He kissed the shell of her ear, his teeth grazing lightly, making her stir in her sleep. "You are mine." Her soft sigh escaped, her body relaxing into his hold. She didn't hear him, but he meant every word. "I'll never let you go," he murmured, stroking her hair, possessiveness blazing in his chest like fire. "Contract or not, rule or not, you belong to me, kitten, forever." The sunlight spilling into her room felt heavy, like it was pressing on her chest instead of warming her skin. YN sat on the edge of her bed, phone pressed to her ear. Her mother's soft, tired voice filtered through, a mix of comfort and guilt. "When will you end this contract, YN?" her mother asked quietly. "You've been saying it for weeks now." YN's throat tightened. She had no answer, at least not one that came easily. She rubbed her temples, staring at the floor. "Uma?" Her mother didn't let her finish. "Sweetheart, I know why you started it. I know you did it for me, for my treatments, for our survival. But 3 years have passed. It's already the 4th year. You can't stay bound like this forever." YN bit her lip. Her chest felt tight, heavy, almost suffocating. Her mother hesitated before continuing, her voice gentler. "There's someone waiting for you. Someone who loves you. Do you remember Minho? Your childhood friend?" Ayan froze. She remembered him all too well. He had confessed months ago, eyes soft, voice steady. She had laughed it off, brushed him aside. But apparently, he hadn't given up. "He came to see me," her mother admitted. "He said he loves you still, that he'd take care of you." "YN, that man Jungkook, he will never love you. You're only hurting yourself if you stay. Please, sweetheart, end this. Come back and start your own life." The words sank into her like ice. She knew they were true. Deep down, she had always known. Her hands trembled as she whispered, "I'll talk to him today, Uma. I promise." "Good girl." Her mother's voice softened with relief. "That's all I want, for you to live freely, not trapped in a contract." Before YN could respond, the door creaked open behind her. Her heart leapt in her throat. Jungkook stepped in without knocking, as he always did, his presence filling the room like a storm. He didn't say a word, just crossed to her, leaned down, and pressed a kiss to her forehead. The gesture was gentle, But there was nothing gentle about the way his hand lingered on her shoulder, firm and claiming. Wyan's pulse raced. She fumbled with her phone. "I'll call you later, Uma," she whispered quickly, ending the call before he could hear too much. She forced a smile as she looked up at him. "Get freshened up. Dinner's ready. I'll ask the maid to set it on the table." She stood, desperate to leave, desperate to breathe. But before she could take a step, his hand closed around her wrist. Her heart sank. His grip was firm, his eyes dark and searching. "Kitten," he said slowly, voice deep and edged with suspicion, "why are you running from me?" Her throat tightened. She pulled faintly, but his grip didn't loosen. His touch burned into her skin, not painful but inescapable. For days she had been distant, ignoring his questions, brushing off his kisses. For days he had felt her slipping through his fingers, and it was driving him mad. But this time, YN didn't just feel tired. She felt angry. Angry at herself for wanting him when she knew he'd never love her. Angry at him for making her heart beat this way when their contract had been nothing but an exchange. Angry at the truth her mother had spoken, the truth she couldn't escape. Her eyes flickered to his hand gripping her wrist. "Jungkook," she said sharply, "let go." For the first time, her voice wasn't soft, it wasn't obedient, and he felt it like a strike to the chest. "Leave my wrist, Jungkook." Wyan's voice was firm this time, more than he'd heard in weeks. It wasn't a plea, it wasn't soft, it was steel cutting through the silence. Her eyes met his, unwavering despite the slight tremor in her body. For a moment, Jungkook just stared at her, dark eyes narrowing as if he couldn't believe what he'd heard. His grip didn't loosen. If anything, his fingers pressed harder into her delicate skin, making her wince. "You're really testing me, kitten," he murmured, low, dangerous, like a warning growl. "I don't like this tone from you." Her jaw clenched. "I'm serious, Jungkook. Let me go." He tilted his head, smirking faintly, as if amused. But deep down, something twisted in his chest, an unfamiliar burn he didn't want to acknowledge. "Oh, and what happens if I don't? What are you gonna do, His thumb brushed her pulse point, deliberately slow, a silent reminder of the control he always had over her. Yen swallowed hard, but she didn't back down this time. "I want to end this contract." Silence. For the first time in years, Jungkook's expression froze. The words hung between them, sharp, heavy, cutting the air. He blinked once, then twice, before a laugh escaped his lips, low and disbelieving. He leaned closer, his face inches from hers, eyes glinting dangerously. "End the contract? Kitten, that's cute." His chuckle deepened, mocking, his breath hot against her cheek. "You almost had me there for a second. You're joking, right?" But she didn't laugh, didn't even flinch. Her silence, her steady, serious gaze made the smirk on his lips falter. Her next words shattered whatever fragments of amusement were left. "I'm getting married soon, Jungkook. I want to be someone's wife, not your mistress forever." The world seemed to stop. His fingers, which had been digging into her wrist, went completely still. The smirk vanished, replaced by a look so cold, so sharp, it made her heart pound with both fear and guilt. "Married?" The word slipped from his lips like poison, drawn out, dangerous. He stepped back half a pace, studying her face as though she just betrayed him in the cruelest way possible. She nodded slowly, her voice low but firm. "Yes, my mother has already spoken to him. He's someone I've known since childhood. He cares for me, and I..." Her throat tightened, but she forced the words out. "I can't keep living like this. I want a life. I want love. I can't. Shut up." The sudden edge in his voice silenced her instantly. His jaw was clenched so tightly the muscles ticked, his fists curling at his sides. The veins in his neck stood out as he took a step closer, towering over her, his presence suffocating. "You think you can walk away from me?" His voice dropped into a chilling whisper. "After everything?" Wyan's chest rose and fell rapidly, but she refused to back down. For once, she forced her own anger through the fear. "It was a contract, Jungkook, and it's already past the time. You set the rules, remember? 3 years, but now it's the 4th. I've done my part. I've given enough. I want out." His laugh was humorless, sharp, breaking in the middle. "Out?" His hand suddenly shot forward, grabbing her chin roughly, forcing her to look at him. His eyes were darker than she'd ever seen them, burning with something more terrifying than rage. Desperation. "You think you can just erase me? Erase us? Like I'm some phase you're done with?" She struggled against his grip, tears stinging her eyes, but she refused to cry. It was never us, Jungkook. It was just what you wanted. And I. His lips crashed onto hers, punishing, cutting off her words. There was nothing tender in it, only fury, possession, an attempt to silence her rebellion. She pushed at his chest, but he refused to let her go, his hand tightening at her jaw until her lips parted unwillingly. When he finally pulled back, his breath was ragged, his eyes wild. "Don't you ever say that again," he hissed, forehead pressing against hers. "There is no end. Not for you, not for me." Her chest heaved, but she shook her head, whispering, "You don't own me, Jungkook, not anymore." That broke him. A dangerous smile tugged at his lips, but there was no amusement in it, only madness. "Oh, kitten." His voice dropped, velvety and terrifying all at once. "I think it's time I remind you exactly who you belong to." Before she could react, he yanked her forward, dragging her toward the bedroom. She struggled, clawed at his arm, but his grip was iron, unrelenting. The hallway blurred around her, her protests falling on deaf ears. When he shoved open the bedroom door, the sound echoed like a final verdict. The storm was about to break. The bedroom door slammed shut behind them, echoing like a verdict. Jungkook shoved YN against the wall, his chest pressing hard into hers, trapping her in place. His breath was heavy, brushing hot against her ear. "You think you can leave me?" he growled, hands already tugging at the cuffs hidden in his drawer. "And marry someone else? Over my dead body, kitten." Before she could protest, cold steel snapped around her wrists. He pulled her to the bed, securing her against the headboard with a metallic click, final, merciless. Her heart pounded with a chaotic mix of fear, anger, and something she hated admitting, desire. Jungkook quiet. His voice was razor sharp as he climbed onto the bed, caging her beneath him. His eyes devoured her, not with softness, but with possession that burned through her very core. He leaned down, biting her lower lip until she gasped, then whispered darkly, "You're mine. Say it." She shook her head, fighting the words. His smirk turned cool. "Then I'll make you remember." Every moment after was a blur of heat and hunger. His mouth claimed hers harshly, rough, demanding. Hands roamed over her, leaving traces of fury across her skin. Every kiss punished her resistance. Every touch forced her into surrender. Her body arched despite her mind screaming otherwise. The cuffs rattled with her attempts to resist, but in the end, she always gave in. She always did. "Good girl," he murmured against her neck, voice low, dangerous, satisfied with her surrender. His movements were relentless, desperate, a man terrified of losing what he believed was his. By the time he stopped, YN trembled, tears stinging her eyes. Jungkook unclasped the cuffs, expression unreadable, before disappearing into the bathroom. She lay there, chest rising and falling unevenly, soaked in the aftermath of both fear and desire. When he returned, he carried a warm towel, but the hardness was gone, replaced with almost tender care. He cleaned her gently, then pulled the sheets over them both, wrapping her in his arms. His embrace was suffocating, not from pain, but from the intensity of his need. YN turned her face away, silent tears slipping down her cheeks. "Kitten," he whispered, kissing her temple. "Why are you crying?" "I hate you," she admitted, voice shaky. The words stabbed him, but she didn't stop. "I hate that I always give in, that I can't fight you, that you do this to me when you can't even love me, when you'll never give me a life of honor." Jungkook froze, jaw tightening as he buried his face in her hair. Her words cut deeper than any pain he'd inflicted. The promise he had once made to never love, never marry, never let someone else break him, it all crumbled now because she was here, trembling in his arms, and he couldn't imagine life without her. Finally, he lifted his head, voice raw, desperate. "Yin, listen to me. I've broken my promise, all of it. I was never going to fall, never going to marry, but you've made me break that, because I can't lose you, not to anyone, not ever." Her eyes widened, stunned, heart racing. "I'm going to marry you, kitten," he whispered, face inches from hers, eyes dark and unrelenting. "Not because I have to, not because it's expected, but because I want to. Because you've claimed me in ways I never thought possible. And I swear, from this moment forward, you will never doubt that you are mine. Always." YN's breath hitched. Her tears fell freely now, confusion, relief, and the lingering shock of his confession all tangled together. He pressed his forehead to hers, lips brushing her softly, almost tenderly. "You're my life now, forever. Contract or not, rule or not, I'm yours, only yours." Her body still quivered against him. But now her heart felt lighter, because the man she feared, the man she loved, had finally admitted the one thing she had never thought he would, that their bond was more than desire. It was a promise.